Sentire Media.
Well, hello there. Thank you so much for downloading the podcast from Italy. You've done a good job to find us, or you are the faithful and the loyal. There are dozens of you out there who listen, and we appreciate every one of you. My name is Jason. Ashley, good morning.
Ciao, ciao.
Oh, good morning, Ashley. Nice to see you again.
Same to you. Good morning, Jason.
That's so cheesy.
I know.
Anyway, we run, own, operate, live at, never leave, and are stuck at La Tavola Marche, a little beautiful farmhouse in the middle of nowhere in central Italy. It is the the end of June. We are just a few days on the other side of the summer solstice, and it is a beautiful, drizzly, warm summer's morning.
I know.
Well, what time is it?
Perfect.
What time do we have here? 9 something? I don't know. We got all our dogs walked, all the animals are fed. We're sitting around. I'm looking at. It looks like there's a gas leak in here with all the animals passed out.
Well, with this rain, it's procrastination 30 is the time, I would say.
The last podcast we did because we didn't want. I think it was raining in the last podcast.
It might have been.
And we turned on the microphones, and here we are again with rain coming down. And the only thing to do when it's like this is clean something. So here we are.
So we'll make another coffee and stay inside instead.
The weather, the summers. Actually, we have a nice summer so far. Last year went from kind of a cool spring right into the heat of summer, right at the end of May, early June, and never stopped.
No, by end of June last year, certain flowers and plants were already freaking out. They're like, "What is going on?"
This year, it's been more of a little progression. We had a little heat wave last week, which was fine. It wasn't that bad. A little bit of interesting weather that we never get.
Ooh, we had a sandstorm.
We had the Sirocco air come up from North Africa.
It is really crazy. We had this a couple years ago in the winter, and then we definitely talked about it on the podcast then because it was during a snowstorm. And it was when this, the winds bring the sandy, dusty...
Oh, did you hear it?
We got some grumbles.
That's a good
20. When the wind will bring this Saharan sand that's so fine that it's like a dust, and it was crazy in the snow because it made the snow this kind of bizarre, almost rusty color. It was like, what is going on? Anyway, happened in the summer, and it's happened before, but this was a good one. And wouldn't necessarily even rain. It would be this kind of humidity or just a sprinkle in the air, and it would leave these droplets of just dust on everything.
Every surface covered. The pool was terrible because it's such fine dust that the pool filter and the pool sweep had a hard time picking it up because it's so fine and you just see it. I was like, what the hell is this?
Every square inch of the plants, the leaves are all covered in it, where I'm thinking, did Jason spray something? It's like, oh no, this is the freaking sand. We watched a YouTube video of a guy who does maintenance on some super yacht, and they were in some port in Italy, southern Italy, and he was just showing all the maintenance you had to do after this storm, and every square inch from the from the mast down, and
all the lines.
Oh my God.
Everything has to be wiped down, so we don't have it that bad. But
no,
it was still something we don't get every day. And then after that was horrible humidity. We had 33 degrees and cloudy, mid-90s and cloudy.
We normally don't get that.
No, and that was for a couple of days, and everyone was miserable. The bugs started freaking out. The dogs were miserable.
You kept hoping for a thunderstorm to break it.
And so here we are on the other side of that, and the air changed, and we have the thunderstorms now, and the cool, dry air came back in. So we'll take the rain. We need it. We always could use it.
Absolutely.
And since we have a little window...
We should have planted pumpkins and melons.
Since we have a little window of no guests here, it's not that big of a deal that the rain's here. It doesn't ruin anyone's holiday.
No. It's great for the plants and everything. Yeah, like you said, we all need it. It feels good. The river definitely, it was getting a little too low.
So things that have been happening here in the last few weeks in Italy in general, we had a vote for the European Union elections for the seats in the Euro Union. So we have sometimes elections for regional or for
mayor and
all that stuff, and seats in Italian politics. And this one had nothing to do with Italy. It had to do with the European Union.
Which meant I had no idea what I was doing when I went in to vote. Because
none of us did. Because what do you want us to do? Read how to do it?
I'm not going to do that. She hands me the little ballot. It's like folded up and a pencil or whatever. And you go into your little booth and, I open it up and I look down and I just see like logos and blank spots. And I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. And I turn around and walk back out and I go, how do you vote? I've never done this style because there were so many options. You could vote for a whole party. You could vote for a person.
So I don't remember how many seats were up. It was many, like 40 or 38 or whatever. So you could either select one party for all those seats or you can individually select different parties and different people. Kind of a mix and match deal. It was, once they explain it to you, it's like, oh, you just X the top and we're done. It takes 2 seconds. Yeah. But when you look at it, it's
you're
like
why is there so much blank space? What's going on here?
But I do like going to vote in because we're part of the comune of the village of Sant'Angelo, which we're not close to, but we're still.
I swear we are the last house.
But you vote at the elementary school, and it's just old school. Like, there's no electronics. It's all pen and paper. There's people, you walk in and you get a little voting booklet when you register to vote, and they stamp it and check you off, and you go into a little thing. But it's all old school. Like, then you fold your ballot back up and put it in the giant box.
Yep.
And
it's like wrapped in paper or
totally.
Something. Looks like the classroom did it.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
But, It was it's always fun because it's different. Mm-hmm. Not that voting's anything special, but
no. What was Gaji saying about the people who go and vote late? I don't know. He was making fun of them because we said we were going to go at night to vote.
Oh yeah, because crazily the polls are open in Italy on a Sunday from 8 or 9 to 11 at night.
11 p.m. So it's like, oh, we could go late. And of course, we're not going to go late. We're going to go at like 6 or 7. Perfect time to go during dinner because everyone's eating. They were getting pizzas delivered, which I loved. But nice little benefit of being an Italian citizen that we get to vote.
Wow, it's really coming down now. Look at it.
That it is. So
Excellent.
What else is going on?
Okay, sorry, moving on. We get to bring back one of my favorite segments on the podcast in Italy, and that is Bitchn.
Bitchn about bureaucracy.
One of my favorites. Every now and again, we have to deal with the bureaucratic mess that is the Italian government, and normally it's over the winter time, and since we're citizens now, we don't have to deal with the immigration over the winter, so that was usually our bitch about bureaucracy.
And in fact, this is one of these things that we should have learned about this house and living here. It was only a few months ago, I think, that Jason and I were talking as we were driving in the car, something about, it's so nice. Oh, maybe when we went to vote, we don't have to do any of this bureaucratic stuff anymore of going to town and get these registered things for that we live, that we're a resident and all the paperwork consistently having to be done the last 10, 15 years for permission to stay in your visa renewal and all of that. Well, we should have just kept our mouths shut.
So the first one is we get a letter in the mail the other day, and it is from the municipality, and they say, we would like, I don't even remember what it was, 312 euros for Tari. Tari is basically the garbage tax. There's other municipal things in that under it, but for the most part, it's your garbage tax, which I'm not complaining about. That's actually really low for a garbage tax. But this was from 2020. And it's not that we didn't pay our 2020 garbage tax. It was COVID year, and they suspended the garbage tax for everyone during that year. And I didn't understand because I distinctly remember they suspended it because why would I? It's just not something I don't know. It's just something that we wouldn't forget about.
Well, you remember that they suspended it, but you're not thinking about the definition of the word suspend.
So I start asking around neighbors, and they get their love notes in the mail too. And here's the catch. In 2020, it was suspended, not canceled. So it was put on hold. We're gonna back pocket that for one day when we need a little bit of coin. We're gonna take that one out. Now, I think the law is they have 5 years to come back and collect it. We are on year 4 now. So 4 years and
Money,
6 months.
please.
Money, please. So here it is, 2024, and it's no longer suspended. It is active.
It's back on.
We would
Game
like
on.
you to pay that in 60 days. Money, please. So I just thought, man, what balls.
Well, I mean, they didn't add any extra fees or interest, so that's good.
Interest, they suspended it. How do you collect interest on something that you said I didn't have to pay?
Well,
now you do.
Exactly.
So that was one. That was a good one. And
But then you got a real nice
Then
love
I got
letter.
a real one. So when the mailman comes to your door and has a recomendata, like something for you to sign, it's usually never good. It's usually either a parking ticket or a moving violation, or it's usually
And it'll be like in a light green envelope.
light green envelope, and you sign a thing on the back, and then he rips that part off and takes it with him. And it's never good. It's never you won.
No.
No. It's always you have to pay something. So we got a nice thick envelope.
Yeah, it was like, what is this?
And we open it up, and it is from...
I'm trying to process what all this is. There's so many papers in here and
there's
whatnot.
tons of papers.
And referring to law, something. You're like, what? Let's just get to the gist. And then I see at the bottom it says, new construction, nuovo costruzione. And it was like, wait, what?
So after sitting there and deciphering all the paperwork, it turns out that the municipality wants the property tax and a fine for building new buildings without permissions. Basically, the agricultural tent and the stall that I put up for the animals.
It's the animal zone, guys. Thankfully... This is when procrastination has benefited us, because there still are no walls. It is just beams in brackets, braces into the ground, like a...
Whatever. It's not... Whatever. I anticipated something like this because... we're right in the gray area. There's two structures, in quotes, if you will. One is an agricultural tent, literally a tent. Aluminum poles, PVC cover. It's made to hold hay or something like that. So that's really not a problem. The other one is a roof with 6 posts. That's basically right now a tractor cover where I park my tractor. So it's not really a structure in the sense that it's sitting on the cement pad with brackets, and it's not into the ground, and it doesn't have walls or anything like that. So you can make an argument that it's not a real structure. It's just a cover to protect my asset, the tractor. However, I thought that it would take a lot more than a year and a half to have this come to the attention of anyone, because we live out in the middle of nowhere. Who's going to...
Yeah, I said to Fujian, I said, who ratted us out? Who went in and told on us?
Ooh, another
How'd
good
they
one.
find out we put anything up?
Yeah, who would rat us out? He goes, no one ratted you out.
He pointed up to the sky.
So, interesting. Italy, in some ways, is ass backwards and behind the curve on all technology for 30 years. In other ways, has really ramped it up in the last few. One being the cameras all over the place. At every, there's cameras all over the... Intersections in the rural areas, cameras all over the place. Number 2 is I got my driver's license, and they love facial recognition technology. And number 3 here that we found out is satellites. They take photos of the countryside with satellites, and then they, with artificial intelligence, compare those photos to ones that they took 18 months ago, I'm sure. And if there's anything new that pops up, they just send out a letter. No one came out here and inspected it. No one talked to us. No nothing.
No.
And he's right. There's no other way that they would have figured this out.
So,
because there's money to be made.
Now it's just paperwork, bureaucracy. I contacted our lawyer. He said contacted Geometra, who is a Tecnico della Territoria.
Yeah, like a surveyor kind of thing.
Like a technical one. And so I did. We know a guy locally, and he, I sent him pictures, and he said, okay, he'll go to the office and see what's going on. But one way or another, it's going to cost us money.
Absolutely. Now, one thing we can't have is it to be registered as a real structure permanently, because that changes the square meters of the house, and now you have to pay different taxes on it. And once you admit that it's a structure, now all the things you should have done before you built the structure come into play, and fees and penalties and blah, blah, blah.
Don't forget, we built this on top of a septic.
Oh, this whole thing has been
started in the wrong spot.
This whole thing has been kind of a comedy of errors and a good learning experience every step of the way.
Oh my God. So yeah, if you have to start back at the beginning, we are FUCK.
So the plan over the summer was to really kit it out and figure out what I'm going to do. Put the walls into it, or is it going to be, what am I going to really do with it? And now it's everything come to a stop until we figure out this bit of bureaucracy, and then we can go ahead with the plans again.
I know.
Thank God we don't have a cow down there.
I know. Seriously. Yeah.
I just thought it would take much, 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 much longer for this problem to surface.
I just never even thought about the eye in the sky.
I've never thought about the eye in the sky. The eye in the sky sees us all.
Yep.
And this really puts a crimp into other plans I had behind the house, like 100
of
meters.
Other illegal structures I was planning to build.
There's a clearing about 100 meters behind, not even 100 meters behind the house.
I wouldn't know.
Whatever. A little back into the woods, there's a beautiful clearing, and it's flat, actually. It's where, when they redid the house, they put all the equipment and the materials. That's where it was kind of like the staging area. And it's great. You could build whatever you want out back there, and no one sees anything, except now that there's the eye in the sky, because it's a clearing in the
They're going to see it. We got to camouflage it.
I know. Maybe so. Now I have to change my ideas. Now I think we have to get into building bunkers.
That's what I said.
If we build bunkers, that's underground. You can hide it from the. So now instead of building up, we have to build down.
We sound crazy.
We do sound.
Y'all prepping? You got your long storage food out there?
You got your buckets of dehydrated food?
I got my gold and silver.
So that usually these things, is that true? Do these things come in threes? Because we're due for one more, if that's true.
That is true.
Well, we'll see. The summer's just kind of kicking off.
Yep.
Leroy, our beautiful Great Dane. We can't go through a podcast without talking about our dogs. The beautiful Great Dane Leroy, happy birthday to him. On the 16th of June, he turned 2 years old, which means we can't even pretend he's a puppy anymore.
No, he's a big boy.
He's a big boy now. And
this last month was a big month.
Leroy became a proud papa.
He has French babies.
He has French babies now.
He had, for his first studying. It was for a French female, and we talked about it exactly. But she had 3 females and 2 boys, 3 girls, 2 boys, and the poor mama was so big. The puppies were so big that she had to have a cesarean. But for Leroy's international studying career, that's a great it's
a great start.
Great start, and he's already been in for 2 more sessions. Little doggy Jack Shack. And so he's living large. He did have an incidente. I was walking the dogs, and they were deep in the field in front of the house, and this moto guy on a
motocross
bike.
Motorcycle,
thank you. I'm flanking. I could hear him coming down the road, and I thought, the animals are way on the other side of this field. I'm on the road. I'll just tell him to kind of slow down as he comes up. And he sure did slow down. And I was trying to point and say, there's 2 dogs in the field. Well, sure enough, Leroy timed it perfectly to jump out, scare the guy. He swerves. We've got gravel. And the bike goes down. The man goes down and takes Leroy too. Thank God, no one was seriously injured.
And it was slow.
And he was going slow.
But those motocross bikes, they have these real knobby tires for going up into the hills, so they don't do so hot on gravel.
So I asked the guy, because we had him come up to the house, and Jason was so great. Of course, it's during a cooking class.
So he stops everything.
And Jason suits up medical gloves and starts helping the guy. And
it was helping the guy. It was a little bit of
just cleaning up.
little bit of road rash and on the knee and the elbow.
But we're chatting with him for a second and trying to make sure he's like calm and also not super angry or what's going on, how's his mental state. And he he had to have been in his mid-60s.
Yeah, he was no spring chicken.
No, and thankfully he was wearing a helmet.
And
he really got a skinned up knee and a little bit on his arm. But as Jason's kind of finishing up, and he knows the bike's working and stuff, I said, "Well, this can't be." Looking at his age, I was like, "This can't be your first accident." And he said, "Well, I've been on many accidents on the road, like on the pavement, but this is the first one on gravel." And yeah, like Jason said, it just kind of marbles slid underneath him. And thankfully he knows old enough and experienced enough how to drop the bike. And Leroy just weirdly ended up with kind of some skinned knees. But, scary enough.
Yeah, we need to take better care. We need to be better with our dog.
I know.
Hello. Not that guy's fault at all. But luckily, no one was seriously injured. And
I saw him again on the road a couple days later with a buddy. Stopped and he waved, and he said he was doing totally fine and no hard feelings. And I just thought, oh my God.
So keeping on with the dogs have Maggie, the little one, the golden retriever. She has now become a big girl as well, and she now has the stamina to keep up with Leroy as they go up into the hills. So they now, in the morning mostly, decide that they like to ditch me. And
Peace out.
We live in the very, very, very rural area, so there's no leashes. I don't walk these dogs on a leash. And normally they just kind of do their thing, and they're around me, and they'll go off, they'll go off to the side and sniff on their own. But really kind of we keep up to a pack. And
Leroy knows the area so well. Sometimes they'd be gone for, 5 minutes or so, but they connect back up with you on the road.
Close enough so you hear them trudging through the brush. Well, now that Maggie's 9 months old and she's got a little bit more strength, they now have decided that they're going to take off and go really check shit out.
Independent adventures.
And last week I was getting ditched for 2 hours every morning. I try to keep them near me, but you turn around and they're gone.
So then we waste a morning with both of us on walkie-talkies, one at the house, one in the car. We're like screaming out. We have no idea how far they can go.
They're right here. They're within a kilometer of the house. We're like on our walk in the morning. So it's not like we're,
foreign land.
They know where they are. And that's
right
the
here.
shit of it, is they know where they are. So if I can call them back, if I have eyes on them, I can call them back from 50 yards, no problem. They'll come right back to me. But once they're in the woods and kind of at a certain distance, I don't know how to get them back.
They are loving life. So we had to get a freaking dog hunting, top of the line Garmin because of the overlay maps and everything, so we could really see.
So yeah, we had to spend a bunch of money so I can see where my goddamn dogs are, because God forbid they get hurt up in the God knows where they are up in these hills.
Yeah, between causing another car accident or getting a face full of quills from a porcupine. And then these SOBs, come to find out once we get these collars on them and everything set up, these jerk-offs are like just into the woods. They could hear us.
No. The other day they were 2 kilometers away.
Okay, well, yesterday when I took them and they pieced out, they stayed and followed the river the whole time, meaning they could hear every step I was taking and just were partying in the river.
So I thought it was Leroy taking Maggie up. It turns out that it's Maggie is the leader and Leroy follows her. And then at a certain point, Leroy quits and just kind of hangs out at an area, and Maggie keeps on going, which is kind of hilarious. But it's good. It hasn't solved the problem of them taking off on me, but at least I don't have to be sitting there with this worry in my stomach of where they are. I can actually see where they are. Now I'm just angry.
Absolutely. My mom used to say, you don't want them to get sick, kids to get sick and go to the doctor. But if we're going to go to the doctor, you better be sick enough for us to go to the doctor kind of thing. saying, like, you don't, that idea of like, or you're missing them, so you think I don't want them to be hurt, and then you're almost like, you better be hurt. You've been gone so long. It's this backwards.
Okay, that's your weird mommy.
Oh,
issue.
absolutely.
Okay, I guess. But we'll keep working on it. I don't know how to call a dog from hundreds of meters away. That's a tough putt.
I know, especially when we don't have a proper like fencing anyway to like for.
Well, no, we can take them down into the garden.
I guess we could.
When you have eyes on them, it's a whole different thing from when they're in the woods and you're at the edge of the field calling to them. We will never put in the time with these dogs to get them to that point where you can just call them from wherever and they're going to come.
I know, they're not hunting dogs.
No, they're not. They're not obedient dogs.
No, we did not train them properly.
They're great. I mean, they are
good.
all right. Enough about dogs.
I know.
But
so what else is going on? Of course, we've had lots of dinners with Gaji and Rosanna. Oh, a couple weeks ago they came over because Rosanna has been dropping many hints that she had wanted to try Jason's ham.
Oh yeah, I made traditional, like an American style smoked ham this winter. We talked about it on the podcast, and of course we put a bunch in the freezer.
So Rosanna would be like, well, I'd love to try it, but, you've never made it for me, so I don't know. And this kind of passive-aggressive grandma, mom thing. And so finally, it was like, okay, let's do a ham dinner, and before it gets too freaking hot for ham. And so Jason thought it would be nice to make some fancy potatoes to switch it up. What do you call these potatoes?
I forgot.
Daphne?
Daphne potato, whatever. You cut them really thin, and you make a rosé pattern in the pan, and then you don't flip it over, and then you finish it in the oven, and you don't flip it over to the very end. Super old school French, but really, 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 really easy. Like it's not hard. It's just
and it was funny because I posted a thing about the potatoes because they were beautiful, and everyone loved them. Rosanna couldn't stop eating the potatoes. I think she thought the ham was. Okay. The potatoes couldn't get enough of.
Well, the ham is just okay because it was the first ham I've ever made from raw pork. So,
but it was fun because I had posted a thing on Instagram and had tagged Jacques Pepin because it was from Jason was using an old cookbook I had gotten him of. Is it called La Technique?
Yeah. From
Jacques Pepin?
Yeah, it's a cookbook from the 70s.
And you want to explain the cookbook?
It's just it's tech like. La Technique. It's an old school cookbook in the sense that it has some recipes, but it's more about how to do technical things like step by step with photos and that kind of stuff. Modern cookbooks I don't really care for because they're just printed Instagram accounts. It's just photos it's just a photo book with a little bit of words in it. This is the opposite. This is black and white. It's very technical. It's like
It's like a textbook almost.
It's like a textbook for cooking almost, yeah.
But it was cool to do so I did a little shout out of like doing old school roots for Jason's cooking with Jacques Pepin, blah, blah, blah. And ended up having a fun exchange on Instagram with his son-in-law and their foundation. And it's just kind of a small world. So it was just kind of a neat little, I don't know. Experience or one of those crazy things on social, but the cookbook, like Jason was saying, is such a great one if anyone either likes to collect old cookbooks or
this one. No. This one's out of print. It's hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
That's why I said if you like to collect old cookbooks,
don't buy this cookbook. You would have to really be into this to buy this cookbook.
Well, maybe someone out there is. You never know. But yeah,
sorry, I lost my. This is good radio. I lost my marking on the page. Oh, making a reservation. Okay, we got guests back again. We've been making reservations for them at different restaurants and all that kind of stuff. And this is one thing that Ashley pointed out.
I was thinking about it because I thought, we should talk about this on the podcast. Because there's a lot of stuff of when you're learning Italian and everything to how to order your food at a restaurant politely. I would like blah, blah, blah. And even sometimes how to call in and make the reservation. But I thought something that doesn't get talked about is actually it's all in the name of the reservation. So when you call, you might have your spiel down. I would like to make a reservation for 2 at 8 o'clock, and you've figured out how to say that in Italian, and you're so proud of yourself. And they say, "Great, what's the name?" This is where it can fall apart quick. If you have a name like Ashley or Jason or maybe even Jessica, something that is a little bit different, that is not an internationally pronounced name,
Now,
like a Teresa.
Or Sarah. If
Or
your name is Sarah
David.
or David or something like that.
Then you don't have to worry about this. If you have a more just different name.
Any SHs together?
Oh,
Any
yeah.
shush, because there's no shush.
No.
J is not really a common.
Exactly. So my piece of advice to you is learn from us over the years, and we started having a reservation name. So we just call, and the name is Cesare, which is Caesar. Italians know it. They recognize it immediately. There's no further questions. When I say Ashley, it is like, what?
Can you
Come
spell
Can
that?
you spell that? And then I'm doing Ancona, like Sorrento. I'm trying to think of towns with the letters of my name, and then it's like, whatever, Cesare, Caesar. And Jason just used it. We have done this for years, everywhere, pizza, anything. Because also the guests who we just had, I tried to put it under their name, and it was like, good luck. I don't know. Just tell them the size and that you made a reservation, because who knows what they wrote down. It definitely wasn't your name. And so sure enough, Jason and I go out to one of our favorite little local spots the other night, where it's kind of a takeout window of stuff. And so
You get piadina and a beer, and you sit out in a beautiful
In a park.
And there was a new girl at the window, and I put my order. She's like, name, and I go, Cesare. And she looks at me and goes, is your name really Caesar? I go, no, it's Jason, but you can't pronounce that or spell it, can you? She goes, no, I'll write down Caesar.
And she said, she even told you, oh, that sounds close enough to Jason. And it's like, that's where it all started. A little Italian girl kept calling Jason Cesare. And her parents were like, no, it's Jason. And she was just like, Cesare. And I was like, all right, that's it. That's your nickname and reservation name. So, little piece of advice.
If you have a different, not a common first name, and you're making reservations, just make one up.
Yep.
Like, I make up what I do for a living whenever we go on vacation.
If he says we have a bed and breakfast, or he's a cook or farm or any of these things, it's like people have
Follow-up questions.
too many follow-up questions. So here's what he does. Oh, nice to meet you. So what kind of work are you in?
One of two professions. I'm either an accountant, or I'm in cement.
No further questions. Okay, sounds good. Moving on. So you got that for you. And speaking of other kind of little funny things of noticing in Italy, there was a guest who's been here a couple times, and shout out to Brian. And he has recently moved to Italy or bought a house here and is getting ready to live here full time shortly. And he was here working on the house and hanging out with locals and stuff. And he was just visiting with us yesterday and telling us some of the advice that the locals were giving him. And he was sharing all these stories. And he said, but don't worry, I've got my pocket full of receipts. And we were like, what is he? We were like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, I've been warned. That was, some of my neighbors, oldies like ours, were like, whatever you do, don't leave the shop without a receipt.
Or don't carry things in your car without the receipt.
We had this with us too.
Whenever we would go down and make sausages with a man named Vittorio, who's in his 80s now. He was in his 70s when we'd be doing, or late 70s. And we were loading up the sausages. He would always give us the receipts for the meat, because he's like, you can't drive around with all this meat,
loose meat
without the receipts. And it's always like, what are you? Okay, fine. Now, yeah, I get it. I guess. I think that there was some kind of movement maybe in the 90s or the 80s where there was a lot of control of people's cars with stuff in it.
Whether it was loose wine, anything without labels.
Exactly.
So they were like, where did this come from? And because they were buying it in black. But
now here we are in 2024. We've been here for now 17 years. I've never been stopped and said, where's the receipts for this stuff in your back?
Especially in a car, whoop, whoop, pull over. Where's the receipts for these?
Now, I get it. If you're getting on the autostrada with a big load in a big truck of something, they can control the merchandise. But not
just
a
in the
car
back of your hatchback with some sausages.
Sausages in the back. So when he tells us this story, we start smiling, and it's like, who are these neighbors? And he's like, yeah, like older people. It's like, yeah, I don't know, man. You can carry them if you want, but
I don't think you need to worry about those receipts anymore.
For your groceries.
It's so funny. I saw, kind of made me think of it too. I saw an Instagram clip of some, these ones that are really cheesy, and some of them are kind of funny, where it's like a American chick and a Italian guy, and they're married, and they
she breaks the pasta.
Totally. So there's all those dumb ones, but this one was kind of funny because she was asking him about the wind on your back and how it's so dangerous. And he's like, well, of course. And it's something I always say with the guests of that is like the number one cause of the plague, and then which leads to death, is a wind on your back. And it's these.
Ashley mentions that because Elio, who is the guy who comes 3-4 times a week to look for mushrooms behind our house, showed up the other day, and we were chatting. And this is when the height of the humidity, like it was just so hot and so cloudy out, and we were just all like, and we're like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm going to go into the woods and walk around.
Middle of it's the peak.
Yeah, it's like 3:30 in the afternoon, and I look at him, and he's got pants on, he's got a turtleneck and a vest. And it's like, what? I was like, Elio, aren't you hot? He's like, well, yeah, but it's sweaty, and I don't want to get...
was wearing so little clothes, I couldn't go outside to say hi to him because I didn't want to have to put more clothes on because it was just so damn hot. And here he is heading into the woods with his turtleneck.
No scarf? But yeah, it's a thing. Sweating and getting air on your neck, that's a really big one.
It's huge. So you just, all those little things, receipts, wind on your back, you never know what's going to get you here.
It's such a dichotomy. We have satellites and AI checking the land, and you have to carry your receipt, and
the wind could
cripple you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Good times. Well, what else is going on, or is it almost time to actually get to work?
I think it is. Yeah, we have to get going, and the rain has kind of let up. So
petering out.
All right, coming up this summer, we are kicking off here as July rolls around into festival seasons. There's going to be festivals going on all over the place, whether it's food or medieval or that kind of stuff. So hopefully we'll get out to a few of those with guests and report on the activities.
Don't forget, coming up in August, hot, steamy polenta. It's your favorite summer treat.
They always do the polenta festivals because I get it. You harvest the corn for the polenta in late August. But they love to serve these hot, steaming bowls of polenta when it's thousands
it's
degrees
like a local
outside.
Saints Day, and they're like serving up polenta. It was just everyone's sweating it out.
Yeah, so
we got that to look forward to.
But other than that, the growing season, wrapping up, the growing season's looking good so far. Everything's happy and healthy. The tomatoes and the peppers and all that kind of stuff. Nothing really to report. It's still plenty of time for things to go sideways. You never know.
And if it grows together, it goes together. I just posted a little Instagram reel video with a strawberry and radish salad. The season is quickly ended for us for the strawberry and radishes, but not necessarily in your neck of the woods where things are available all year long.
So right now it's just kind of, the routine of everything. Guests come, guests go, clean the house, rinse, repeat, do it again. And yeah.
Well, until next time.
Thank you so much for listening. Hope you're doing well. Have a good one.
Ciao, ciao.
Sentire Media.
Hey, podcast producers and show hosts. Do you want to join a podcast network that celebrates all things Italian? At Sentire Media, we understand the allure of Italy and its unique culture. Our devoted team of hosts and producers are all driven by their shared passion for Italy. and we work tirelessly to create the best lifestyle podcasts and content that will whisk you away to the very heart of Italy. With us, you can savor the mouth-watering flavors, get lost in the stories from the past, break down the cultural barriers, and truly immerse yourself in the vibrant traditions of this intoxicating country. If you have a great podcast idea or are already in production and would like to join Sentire Media, head over to sentiremedia.com, that's SENTIRE media.com, and find out how to submit your show.